Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
The LPGA Tour schedule for 2018 is out. The commissioner of the tour, Michael Wan, joins us live in the studio. The top 50 in the world golf rankings at the end of the year earn an invitation to the Masters. Brandt Snedeker currently outside the top 50. Coming up, how that could change this very week. And the hottest player in the world, Justin Rose, he's in Indonesia playing this week. All that and more straight ahead on Golf Central. And with that, we say hi to you, Ryan Burr, alongside Tripp Eisenhower. You know, Justin Thomas, Tripp, he's the PGA Tour Player of the Year. Ricky Fowler just won the Hero in the Bahamas. But a little debate who the absolute hottest player in the world is. That is Justin Rose. He finished his 2017 campaign this week in Indonesia. In fact, he's teeing off in just a couple minutes. You know, Rose wasn't himself after he lost to Sergio in the playoff at the Masters. Took a while to get over that hangover. But how about as of late? 9 consecutive top 10 finishes worldwide with a couple of victories. What's changed?
Well, let's call it sustainable confidence, but in one area in particular is on the greens. I mean, Justin Rose has been in fuego on the greens, if you will, and when he putts well, you know, it's time for Players on the Rise, presented by Kia, and when he putts well, Ryan, there's no question about it, one of the best players in the world, and he showed it. This was a huge putt right here in China. The Rose was in full bloom right there, and that was to come from 8 shots back to hold a trophy for the first time since he stood on the gold medal platform in Rio last year. So first win of 2017 for Justin Rose. Well, he didn't wait long at all for win number 2. That came in Turkey. When he's making that length putt, 10 to 15 feet, he is so dangerous because the ball striking is always there. Justin Rose is on a tear without question.
Well, just look at these numbers. They are ridiculous when you think about just how dominant a player he has been in his last 5 worldwide starts. And ahead of today's first round of the Indonesia Masters, Rosie spoke about what has sparked his recent form.
I was getting a bit fed up and not playing as I wanted to. So like I said, motivation, determination, just changed my mindset. And then a little bit of confidence came along, and yeah, there was nothing really too different. Just you know, players get on a bit of a roll sometimes, but to keep the consistency going for such a long period of time, I think is what I'm pleased about. There's still areas of my game that need work, need tuning up. I still feel like I can get better going into next season. This little run has given me the belief I can make a run up the world rankings even higher. So. Yeah, I'm excited about my off-season. It's going to be a short off-season, but that's by design. I didn't want to take too much time off and lose the momentum, so I'm looking forward to starting the year early in Abu Dhabi and just keeping things going.
Now, Brandt Snedeker has played in every Masters since 2011, but at 51st in the world rankings, he currently does not have an invitation to Augusta in 2018. Sned sat out 5 months this summer due to a sternum injury, but recently added today's Indonesia Masters to his schedule with the hopes at week's end he could find himself back inside the top 50, which indeed would secure that spot to the Masters. It is the final event of the 2017 Asian Tour season, the Indonesian Masters. First round coverage coming your way tonight at midnight. As promised at the top of the show, the new 2018 LPGA schedule is out. 3 new tournaments, 1 in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Shanghai. The UL International Crown will be headed outside the United States, played in Korea in October. 34 events, 14 countries, a record $68.75 million in prize money, and more than 400 scheduled hours of domestic broadcast coverage on Golf Channel and the network television. With that, we welcome in LPGA Commissioner Michael Wan into Golf Central. Exciting to see that schedule come out. couple new varieties there. What excites you the most as you look at it?
Well, when I think about 2018, I probably have to start with 2017.
Yeah.
We're coming off of some pretty good momentum. I mean, thanks to Golf Channel NBC, we just announced nearly 22 million people watched us in 2017. Our average viewership was up 24% this year. So we start with a following like never before. Our digital following is up. And I'm really excited about the fact that next year we're going to add a few new cities. We're going to play for more money than we've played for in LPGA history. We're going to move New Zealand. You won't see New Zealand in the 2018 schedule because it'll move to spring in 2019. So it's not going away. It's just taking a year to move to the spring. So, no matter what you're talking about, which is new markets like LA and Shanghai and San Francisco, UL Crown going to Seoul, there'll be 125,000 people in Seoul watching that event. There's a lot to be excited about, but nothing more exciting than the fact that the fan following that follows us, not only here in the U.S., but all around the world, is at a level we've never seen before in our history.
Yeah, let me just follow on that. As you talk about the rise in popularity and the momentum that you take from this year into next, is there anything tangible you can put your finger on and say, this is why we are growing at such an impressive rate? Well,
there's a few things. I mean, the first is, I think if you jump back 7 years ago, a lot of our players were flags. Chen Shen-Feng was China, and Na Young Choi was Korea. And, people kind of associated players from other countries as just a flag and a player from another country. You jump forward now to 2017, they know these players.
Right.
Na Young Choi is NYC, right? And Brooke Henderson is not just a Canadian. She's Brooke Henderson. We know her. We like her. In-Ji Chun is somebody that American fans, Canadian fans, European fans, so there's a connection with our players no matter where they were born and raised. We've gone from a tour that had about 200 hours of television in America just 5 or 6 years ago to a tour with 450 hours of TV. So as a fan, it's easier to follow us. We're on every week. You can stay connected to us. It used to have to work pretty hard to be an LPGA fan. And then we've gone from having one network weekend to 7. So on a more regular basis, we can showcase our tour to a much larger casual fan base.
We showed you the schedule. We talk about the moves to LA or San Francisco, obviously 2 giant markets in California, which would mean more primetime hours, also Shanghai. But the LPGA Tour, when you think about it, you're now in some giant markets, but of course you had footprints in traditional small markets that have been LPGA towns for a long time. How important is it, Michael, to keep that mix? Big-time cities along with the traditional places in Arkansas and Ohio that you've been in the past.
It probably frustrates some in the media and certainly my players that I don't sit at my office and go, LA, there's a market.
Yeah.
We typically go to where our check writers, our title sponsors, we can make the biggest impact on their business. That being said, I do realize that the bedrock of the LPGA, our home, if you will, is Toledo and Portland and Kingsmill and new markets that have added on like Green Bay and Indianapolis where our players are staying in homes. There's volunteers that have followed us for years. But it's exciting. When you think about our tour, we're big, televised in 175 countries. We're diverse. We're going to come at you from 33 different countries. And when you think about LA, San Francisco, Shanghai, those markets are similar. They're big, they're golf fanatical, but they're also people from all over the world that live in those markets. And when we show up in San Francisco, Shanghai, and LA, we're a pretty good fit. And you're going to see fans who look like they came from all over the world that live in those markets, seeing players that came from their home markets as well. So it's a really nice mix between whether or not we're playing, in Toledo or Ann Arbor or Kingsmill, or whether or not we're playing in LA or San Francisco or Shanghai.
Yeah, I know, spending many summers at the Jamie Farr, that places like that, I mean, that is their Super Bowl. The LPGA coming to town, it is a big deal. And I
always say those are markets where we get off the airport, I'm the only one waiting for the shuttle to the rental car. Everybody else is getting picked up in an SUV or a minivan, and they're heading to a block party or a cookout. I'm the only guy going to a hotel.
There you go. Let's talk a little bit about the international events. You talked about going to Korea and the kind of attendance you'll see there. How big do you see the international crowd getting?
The UL International Crown is going to get as big as anything we play. I believe that. I've said it since the first day we launched it. I really believe that golf, certainly golf in general, and women's golf needs big showcase team events. And you see it in the men's side as well. But the Solheim Cup put 7.5 million viewers in the U.S. watching us over 3 days. It was huge, 125,000 people in Des Moines. Can the UL International Crown get there? I think it's going to get there in 2018.
You do.
If there's as many fans as cameras that came to our announcement about playing it, we're going to play it at the Jack Nicklaus Golf Club where they played the President's Cup a couple of years ago in Seoul. It's big. It's got the ability to hold a lot of people. I think you should expect to see 100,000 people on that platform. And the reason I can tell you that is I sat at the Hannah Bank KEB this year on a Sunday with 40,000 fans watching our Sunday, and everybody was talking about Team Korea playing next year in the UL International Crown. Expect bigness out of that event, starting in Seoul and going on for a lot of years.
We just got to get you more excited, Michael.
I have a bit of a caffeine problem.
A lot to be excited about, and we are not done with the commissioner of the LPGA. When we come back, the days of fans calling in a rules violation over. We will ask the commissioner if he agrees with the latest rule changes to the sport next.
Golf Central is brought to you by the Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X. Choose the best for your game. Shipsticks, the largest golf bag shipping company in the world, simplifying the way you travel.